tonight. Wahiga, tell us what's been making headlines across social media.
Right, well, lots and lots been happening over the last couple of days. I must say I almost did trends today in a shirt without the coat because of the heat.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll be talking about. But basically we have the Dandora ID card drive. We have a look at what's happening in Brussels on, of course, the equinox that everyone's talking about. Let's start with Brussels. And, of course, we kick off our trends on a rather somber note with what happened this morning, the attack on an airport and metro stations there as well. And, of course, our hearts go out to those who lost loved ones and those who are injured at the moment. Very unfortunate set of events there. And Kenyans on Twitter went online to talk about this. Want to talk about a Kenyan who's not actually living in Kenya but in Belgium, in Brussels. Divock Origi, he plays there while out, of course, in Liverpool, and he says, my thoughts and prayers are with everyone affected by the horrific attacks on our city. The hashtag Pray for Brussels, so they are related hashtags as well. But closer home, we have a gentleman here who says, our thoughts and prayers are with you in this difficult time. Pole to Brussels with a map, with a flag of Brussels and a flag of Kenya. And the EU in Kenya tweeted, the EU delegation in Kenya is shocked at the news of the explosions in Brussels airport and metro station. Janet Hussein, your thoughts?
It's very sad. And of course, our condolences to families and friends of the victims. But again, it points out to
that's right. And
growing, increasing problem of terror in the world.
In the world, it's our global issue. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Of course, many on social media also asking the Kenyan authorities to also continue to enforce security on the same plane. And I saw in one of the news stories that indeed has happened. Let's move on to something else that was trending in Nairobi, the Dandora ID card drive. Now, this is an initiative by the government kicked off today to ensure that street families get IDs. And you see Kenyans on Twitter went online to talk about that. The interesting thing is 2 requirements to get an ID. Hussein and Janet, you need a birth certificate and you need the ID of your parent or guardian. And street families face these challenges because some of them some were abandoned or various challenges meant that
they don't have the document.
They don't have a document. So this initiative, many went on to upload it. We have the Mutai saying PS Kibishu, and of course we have a picture there of scenes earlier on at the Dandora dump site addressing residents, men and women who've not had ID cards, some of them for many years, and had no idea of how they were going to get that. We have another tweet here, Shege Wamasharia saying, I know street families aren't on social media, but if you are near one of them, tell them to go to the Dandora DO's office to get ID cards now. But as always, on social media, there are 2 sides to every coin in terms of the reactions. And we have Elizabeth Mwende saying, who is fooling who? This should have happened before voter registration.
Okay.
And of course, many wondering the timing, Hussein and Janet.
Well, I mean, it's already taking a political turn. Like you said, there's always 2 sides to everything, Wahiga, so we'll just leave it at that.
We'll just wait and see.
It's for a good cause anyway.
That's right. We'll of course wait and see how it unfolds from Dandora. Where else are they going to move to? This is a story that many will be following closely. We move on to Equinox. Hussein, do you know what Equinox means?
He's about to ask me. He's about to ask me because he has no clue.
I'll let Janet respond to that. But I'll let Janet respond to that.
You go ahead. I know exactly what it is, but when he freaks out, that's what he does. Yes.
Can I impress you with my knowledge?
Please.
Okay, my research.
From Wikipedia, but okay.
Let me tell you, Equinox happens twice a year, in March and in September. And it is when the plane of the equator aligns with the plane of the sun. That's pretty much. So the idea, the mental picture I have in my head is the sun directly over the equator, you know where Kenya stands. So Kenyans on Twitter are attributing the heat in our nation to Equinox.
But it isn't true.
But it isn't true, and you can see our first tweet, Ben Mutuku saying the Kenya Meteorological Department dismissing our complaints of the excruciating heat in Nairobi. They say the heat is normal. Is it normal?
I think it's a little more extreme than usual, but I don't think it's completely unusual.
Okay. I think Hussein disagrees. That's why he's quiet. But some interesting.
You know where I'm from. You know I'm from Wahiga.
That's a good point. You're right.
This is winter.
I will say no more, Hussein. I completely understand. So but these are some pictures that Kenyans were posting. This one of a truck and some chickens have gone underneath to get away from the heat. We can move on to the next picture. A diagram of the earth. For some reason, Nairobi has been detached from the earth and is in between the earth and the sun. And Lulu, our very own Lulu Hassan actually posted this on her Instagram page, how people are, cooling down. We've had a lot of stories from areas like Mombasa, Garissa, further north. People have fans next to their bed.
The lady in the fridge she's won the day.
I mean, also someone's hiding in a cooler as well. What were your thoughts when you first saw these pictures circulating on social media?
Of course, you know how Kenyans just take it up a notch on social media,
yes.
for sure. I mean, I spend a lot of time in my life at the coast as well, so...
And she feels so...
Yeah. No.
You know?
It's hard, but for me, it's not incredibly unusual.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Have you seen the next picture? Let me take you to the next picture, and you'll tell me if that's normal. That's how some people sleep in this season that we're in, hugging a huge ice cube.
Like I said, we are used to this. Where we come from, we're used to this heat, Wahiga.
Yeah, no, I understand. So the two of you are okay.
No big deal.
I'm the one who's suffering.
You're the one who's suffering, yeah.
Let's move on. And we cross over to Uganda, where one of the biggest talking points this week has been Kasangati. That is the region where former presidential candidate Kizza Besigye comes from.
And I know Hussein was there when he was in Uganda.
Go ahead, Hussein.
Wahiga, it's called Kasangati.
Kasangati.
Yeah.
Not Kasangati.
I beg your pardon. I blame my high school teacher, but nevertheless, it's
he's been in and out of course, house arrest after house arrest. Kasangati is where, of course, Besigye's home is, and we saw him being taken there severally.
That's right. We move on to the first picture there. Of course, a tweet from Besigye himself saying him and other activists visited him after attending court there, where a case seeking his freedom was being had. Of course, it's been back and forth right now. He's suing the security organs there for what he claims is unlawful detention since the elections concluded there, and that's been a big talking point there. We move on to the next tweet from a television station in Uganda, actually earlier today, saying heavy police deployment as Besigye supporters march towards his home to quote-unquote swear him in. So this is actually what was going on there today. Of course, it appears that their efforts were thwarted. And finally, Songa saying Besigye home siege might go on until May when the case is over. So that is potential speculation. That's a bit of what has been happening in Uganda.
Right.
Now, even as we wind up, on the 21st of March, Twitter celebrated its 10th birthday.
Yeah.
And many say that Twitter is not very influential in Kenya. I beg to differ. Over 1.1 million users use Twitter, at least have an account. And this is a video that they posted just to show a bit of how important Twitter is in breaking news. Here we go.
Germany are the champions of the world!
There you go. A quick comment from you, Hussein or Janet, the impact of Twitter in terms of how Kenyan news is now shaped.
I'll reserve my comments.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming. Okay. I mean, obviously, I mean, it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. And like you said, what number did you give of users on Twitter in Kenya?
Over 1 million, right?
Over 1 million have registered, but of course on a daily basis, probably 700,000 or less. But growing by the number. And finally, Hussein, Janet, everybody wants to be president, but it's tough because you get more attention than you actually want. I have two clips that run back to back. One of our very own president, of course, one of Barack Obama. You'll see some interesting similarities there.
The rock star treatment.
As we wind up, people in the crowd both shouted to them that we love you. I don't know how you'd respond, Hussein, if somebody just out of nowhere shouted we love you or I love you. I'll leave that for our viewers to ponder on. That's it on today's Trends. We'll see you again next week.
All right.
Thank you so much. We'll do this again next week.